Praise be Jesus Christ, now and forever. I'm sure since last week's Nugget, some of you have been trying the delicious taste of Marmite. Perhaps some of you are already hospitalized with acute distress. There's a marvelous BBC comedy, one of the classics, which is still repeated regularly both in the US and in Britain, called Keeping Up Appearances, starring the great actress Patricia Routledge, who plays the character of Hyacinth Bucket, which she insists on pronouncing as bouquet. It details Hyacinth's attempts to move up the social ladder from her middle-class existence. She is, of course, a terrible snob, but all the laughter in the show, and it ran, I believe, for 5 seasons, is about the attempts of Mrs. Bouquet to try to be something she's not, and to keep up the appearance of being respectable and bourgeois. That respectability, based on outward appearance and social conformity, would be in her mind both the key to social mobility and acceptance, and her position in society. Sometimes when reading St. Paul, one can get rather bogged down in his discussions about circumcision and Jewish law. It doesn't seem to have much to do with living our Christian lives today. However, as we know, the Word of God is an inexhaustible treasure, a fountain, as St. Ephrem the Syrian said, which can never be emptied. So we can always find something, a word of encouragement or challenge, even in the most obscure text, if we have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. Reading part of the letter to the Galatians the other day in the office of Matins, in the section right after our Nazarene motto appears, "Let us do good to all men, but first to the members of the household of the faith," I was struck by these words of St. Paul, speaking to the Galatians who were being swayed by false teachers. Paul says, "Who are they, these people, who insist on your being circumcised? They are men, all of them, who are determined to keep up outward appearances, so that the cross of Christ may not bring persecution on them." That temptation, not just of keeping up appearances, but worrying about what we might call human respect, is a danger for all times and all seasons. It's not just a danger in times such as ours, when in fact it's not actually very respectable to be a Christian. Perhaps it's even more dangerous when Christian conformity, although not too dramatic or radical, is the norm. The saints, those who take and took their faith seriously, always disturb respectability. They make the world, as Chesterton said, stand on its head. The saint is never worried about keeping up appearances. They're worried about fidelity. St. Paul really hits the nail on the head, though, when he says that the real reason people are so concerned with conformity and appearance in relation to the expression of the Christian faith is the fear of persecution. That persecution doesn't have to be bloody or red martyrdom. It's the fidelity, for example, of the great Cardinal George Pell, imprisoned falsely and unjustly for revealing the corruption and theft in Vatican finances. How easy it would have been for him to keep up appearances. It's, as we spoke about recently, the fidelity of the Finnish Member of Parliament, who would not conform to the respectable but unbiblical view of marriage. For that, she's on trial. How easy it would have been for her to stay silent and keep up appearances. "Beware," said Jesus, "when all men speak well of you, for that's how they spoke of the false prophets." We don't court controversy, we don't seek disputes, but if the choice is between keeping up appearances or being faithful to the cross of Christ, then there really is no choice. With the blessing of St. Paul, again from the second letter to the Corinthians, "Brethren, rejoice, be perfected, be comforted, be of the same mind, be at peace, and the God of peace and love will be with you."